So Alex and I are here today to have a chat about Alpha. My name's Sally, and I will be known to most people maybe watching, or perhaps not. I work for the church as part of the staff team as a communications manager. Alex is one of our curates, and so Alex, you've been here a couple of years and you've been involved in 6 Alpha courses. Tell us why you enjoy it and what you get from it.
Hi, Sally. I think just to introduce you a bit better, Sally, you're basically the one who makes everything happen when other people are like up the front and doing things. So, yeah.
I'm not so sure about that, but
there we go. Well, I must admit, Alpha's been probably the highlight of my time at Walton. And why have I enjoyed it? I think it's just been a really good way to meet people. Just the friendships that come out of Alpha, and if you listen to anyone who's ever spoken about Alpha in our church, friendships is always one of the things that they reflect on at the end, and it's as much for me one of the clergy has gained that as anyone attending. So I guess I've really enjoyed that, and getting to know people in church has been just to know people on a deeper level, and you know, you just share that journey of a term of Alpha. It's really good. And what have I learned? Well, I think I've been in the army, so I've been mixing with people who aren't Christians most of my adult life. And then I went to college, and you sit there and you're in your bubble with all your other trainee vicars, and just theorizing, but it's not kind of learning where people are at, and so I think I've learned 2 things from doing Alpha as we explore the Christian faith. And the first one is really, I think, that many people don't think there's any evidence for the Christian faith. And I'm not saying that you would definitely come to the same conclusion as me, but what I think that people are surprised about is that it's more credible than they'd ever imagined. And then secondly, the other key point I think I've really picked up on is that people are often surprised about what Christianity is. So often in our culture, we're told that and the perception is that Christianity is almost like a thought police. It's like God is a policeman in the sky, and the church is the little policeman who are running around making sure that everyone is behaving and adhering to these rigid rules. But the myth that Alpha tries to break is that, and because Christianity is about a person, it's about God, it's about God who loves humanity, who came as a person, Jesus. And I think that it's really interesting. We really try to explore the differences and what that means, that actually we have faith in a person rather than in a moral code.
So if you think Christianity is so great, why do people struggle to believe?
I think that's really interesting. For first, Christianity is really supernatural. And actually you discover as you're on the Alpha that you can't be ashamed about that. But I often think that if God is who he is, then actually acts of supernatural power, i.e. being born of a virgin, is kind of maybe acceptable for us, because actually if God is who he is, then he can then I can't see why he can't do that. But I think so many people come with kind of cultural arguments that we've been maybe taught since we were very young, and which therefore in our modern culture make it very difficult for us to believe in. And the first one is that the belief in the supernatural. Maybe 500 years ago, everyone believed in witches, fairies and wizards and things like that. Magic was on the agenda, so to believe in the Christian faith wasn't so difficult, whereas now we're far more skeptical about anything spiritual, anything like that, so that's within us. But but also I think that people think that science has disproved Christianity. I'd love to, which I've learned is is not the case. The two work together. They're looking at different questions that science tells us how, and our Christianity tells us why. Also, I think in our culture, people, we now don't really, we struggle to believe in truth. Truth is subjective. And so when you have the Christians saying, well, I believe this is the truth, that's quite countercultural. And I think that makes it unpalatable for people. And then also I think people think it restrains their freedom. But I think that when you meet Christians, we feel different about it, but you have to maybe get there to experience that, I think.
Yeah. I see so many people who so willingly talk about the universe and there being a greater being out there, and that the universe controls us, and that it, you know, I find myself asking or wanting to ask them, challenge that perception that there's something there, but so why not God?
Yeah.
So isn't Alpha just a way then of trying to force our beliefs on people?
It's a way of us presenting our beliefs, I think, in a fair way, in a way that we do, that we can own what we're saying, rather than people saying what we believe from outside. It's an opportunity for us to say what we believe, but it's Alpha is not Johnny, Kathy sat there giving you a sermon telling you what to believe. It's actually a conversation group. So you, although we're different because we're going to be on Zoom this term, it's having questions about life. It's kind of, nothing's off limits. We're not people aren't kind of worried about anything. In fact, I know that John and I, when we've done it, we relish the most difficult questions. That's a good night for us, and actually it's working through it in that group and in that little group, and I'm sure that's what you experienced, Sally.
Yeah, definitely. When I did Alpha quite a few years ago now, to begin with, I found it a bit strange because people were asking questions, and the then curate sat with my group. I kept thinking, well, why is he not answering the questions? And then I realized that actually it was all about the discussion, and it was all about us all answering and sharing our ideas, and the growth that then came from that was way bigger and more powerful than if he had just sat there and answered all the questions. So it's a really big part of it, and actually it feeds into the idea of us being able to own who we are as Christians and understand better what we're thinking. So talking of questions, are any questions off limits?
Absolutely none. No.
None? So what about how do you square the Bible, evolution and dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah. That's a nice light one for this. Can you press cut on the video and will I go away and come back? But I think what I've learned is that Christianity really is, we can explain things. It's not, I'm not going to say that I can give you an amazing answer to everything, but I think it is powerful. I mean, I read this book this summer. Maybe you read it at home. It's actually really good. I couldn't put it down. But it's very much a story.
You always say that.
Yeah, this is kind of against Christianity. It's about evolution and not saying that Christians don't believe in evolution, but it's giving that as the whole explanation for life. And you ask about Genesis, dinosaurs, and evolution. Well, I think for so long people have tried to shoehorn all of the science into the Bible, which it wasn't ever meant to do. I mean, the Bible is the story of humanity's relationship with God. It starts with the first people that knew God, and rather than what happened in the 19th century was people trying to say, oh, the 7 days means Like, that's how long it is. The Earth's only 4,000 years, and we've got to stay rigid to that. But that's just not the case. And I think with evolution, I don't deny evolution. I would say that it's God's hand on creation, and God works in ways that are beautiful, and but also that are not just, it's not like zap, something just turns up. It's slow, and it's got God's hand in it.
Yeah, cool. I know I've certainly been challenged by the questions that come from my children when it comes to things like dinosaurs. So there's always something more to talk about.
I just guess for me, I think Alpha's a place to come and doubt your doubts. I think we need to always challenge where we're thinking. I need to, so hence why I try and read non-Christian literature as well, because it's really important for us not to just be in an echo chamber our whole lives, and to grow as people. But Sally, I mean, just before we wrap up, tell us about, just briefly, about your Alpha experience.
So I did Alpha in, I think it might have been 2011, 2012, and I loved it. It became the highlight of my week, and I was coming to church already, and I'd grown up as a Christian, so I wasn't coming into it new. And actually my curiosity lay in, I'd always seen Alpha advertised. I worked in London near a big church who had huge, massive Alpha signs outside, and I was actually just genuinely curious as to what it was. And after my eldest had started school and I had a bit more time, I thought, right, I'm going to do it this term. And so I signed up, and off I went. And I think what it really gave me was, as somebody who already counted themselves as a Christian and was already coming to church, I knew there was more, but I'd grown up in quite a traditional church, and then I'd come to St Mary's, and then I'd found myself at St John's, and other churches in between times. I'd always gravitated towards something that was similar to what I knew growing up. But I knew other stuff existed, and that's what Alpha gave me. It opened the doors to show me how to access this whole other world of church that was more than just a Sunday morning reading, from the book and singing hymns, and it just introduced me to this wider place of where I've subsequently made some of my best friends, and I've just grown. And obviously, not everyone's going to land up working for the church, but that's the journey it's taken me on, and into a home group that's been a really significant part of being part of a small group.
Thanks,
I just would recommend it to anybody and everybody. It's good.
Good to chat.
So we shall. We can look out for some more interviews, I think, with people from you and from Johnny, and with various different people who've done Alpha, to get some testimonies. And so we would recommend people have a look at those and come and try it. There's an introductory evening, isn't there? No commitment.
Of September.
Tuesday night, Wednesday night on Zoom. Don't be put off by that if you haven't used it. We can help you, and come and see what it's about. You don't have to, if you don't like it, you don't have to keep coming, but we hope you will.
Cheers, Sally. See you soon.
Bye.